Alright people, as promised, here it is. This is the Midwest Aerospace Workshop. Let's start here and work our way around. This is the welding cart. There is a small MIG welder, a selection of stick electrodes, and the very small stick welder which replaced the microwave oven transformer based welder I built quite some time ago. I think that was the first video on this channel that actually got any traction. These are various welding supplies, and now we move on to the bench grinder. I've got a useful piece of equipment, but also quite basic and very old. I've had this for ages and ages. I think I found it at a garage sale some time ago. And then we have these. This is my personal sort of hardware store, hardware stash, if you will. The idea being that if I'm building something and I need, say, a 1/4-20 bolt, oh, look, it's right there. If I'm working on a small engine and I need a piece of fuel line, it's right there. There's also a fuel pump. That used to be on the trike, but one of the things broke off it. Bearings, let's see, what else have we got in here? Some hose and pipe hardware, bits of pipe strap, hole saws. There's some tools in here as well, it's not just all hardware. And then the stuff that didn't fit is up here. Obviously there's tape and zip ties, all the engine magnetos and so forth. Got a coil of chain there. Oh, this thing I used to measure the oil temperature of the trike before I sat on it. That's why it looks like this. Don't sit on your thermometers, people. Let's see here. So the thing with these is, you know, I mean, obviously you can't just go to the hardware store and buy all this stuff. When I get something in and disassemble it, say an old microwave, right? There are a million billion little tiny sheet metal screws, and so they all go in here. Or, you know, there was an old snowblower I took apart some time ago, and all the bolts and various, you know, bits and pieces were classified and put in here. Marbles, those are good for slingshots. Got a couple of very large drill bits in there, and then my case of normal ones. More Allen keys, because they wouldn't fit in there. That drawer's missing, I don't know where it is. Here we've got some metric stuff. This is a newer edition, because I previously just had this one drawer for metric. And then safety equipment, got some earplugs, some nitrile gloves. These are the two drills. That's an impact driver, that's an actual drill. And my crappy Harbor Freight calipers, which I can't open with one hand. Little sign there to brighten things up. This, of course, is the welding fume extractor. Or just swing it down there, you'll see there's a fan from a microwave oven in there, and then just bits of HVAC ducting and some scrap wood shoots it all out the window, which is very nice. Back here we've got what are effectively the most commonly used tools. Wrenches, needle nose, side cutters, channel locks, this thing, and grinding wheel stuff. Got some clamps. This is the drill press station. It's quite a bad drill press. Look at all that play in there, but you know, it does the job. And there's oil, there's a clamp for the vise, which you should use. Don't just drill things unclamped like me. And then a brush for clearing chips and some stuff for the angle grinders. This piece of metal here, I found at a scrapyard, and it's good because I actually grounded it. You can see there's this little strap here that's bolted to the table. So this is grounded to the metal frame of the table, which means I can just stick something to weld on here, clamp the ground clamp to the table, and not have to worry about it. Obviously the big vise is a little bit broken, but it does still work. This rear jaw kind of came off, so I had to weld it on. That was a little bit sketch. I tried heating it up so it wouldn't crack, and it seems to be doing the job thus far. Now if we look under here, there are more supplies. This is all the go-kart stuff. You'll find some old spindles and shackles and bits and pieces there. There's also some bicycle parts in there. These are all like cable ties and straps. I've got some more hardware back here. Stuff that wouldn't fit up there. And, oh yes, that's my box of TIG stuff. And here, this is all small engine stuff. This is really where I came from, you know, this is what I started with. Little Briggs & Stratton engines, you know, snowblower engines. Fiddling around with those is how I got my start in all this mechanical stuff. This is the big welder. It's a 200 amp stick and TIG. It does AC as well, and it served me very well indeed. I absolutely love this thing. The only slight problem is that I've only got 120 in the garage here, and so I'm kind of limited on the amperage, but even within the confines of 120 volt wall current, it's a damn good welder. The bottle goes there. And here we've got more small engines. That engine was on the go-kart, which is on the other channel, the official Midwest Aerospace Workshop channel. That's the scrap steel bin. And here, this is the original microwave oven transformer welder, which still works, by the way. I don't want to turn it on because it's dangerous as hell, but it does still work. And it's sitting there comfortably during its retirement. Got a bunch of wire over there and some motors. Let's see here. On top of the tool chest, this is my toolbox, which has got all the essentials in it, you know, stuff that if I needed to leave at a moment's notice and go fix something, I could just take the toolbox and go. Got some random stuff in here, shut keys, which I'm struggling to open with one hand. Some bits and pieces from the GT80 wheels, because those used to have speedometer drives in them. Those are the front wheels. And some random stuff. Now, we've got it all sort of organized here. So we've got hand tools, screwy things, hammery things, grabby things, cutty things, and measury things. And then here we've got some power tools, the old angle grinder, power sander, crappy corded drill, and so on and so forth. Oh, and the all-important temp gun. Protective equipment, lots of welding gloves, earplugs or earmuffs, respirator, goggles, and so forth. And here, we've got some of the more specialized stuff. So we've got sockets, metric wrenches, 2 torque wrenches. One is sort of for, I think it goes to about 100 pound-feet, and this one goes to like 120 inch-pounds or something like that. So this is good for doing up small bolts. For example, when I rebuilt the shifter in my car, the bolts needed to be torqued to, what was it, 7 pound-feet or something, and that would have just, it would not be accurate at such low loads. So this was very essential to do that. Oil filter wrench, bunch of taps and other kind of random bits and bobs. Piston ring compressor, that's helpful for dealing with small engines. And what else? Oh, if you're wondering why there's no 14mm 1/4-inch drive socket in my socket set, it's because it's welded to a piece of bar, which was a terrible idea as it turns out, because the bar bent. But there you are. Garbage bin, all the crap goes in there. Got some brooms back there. And here we have the materials bins, which are not particularly materially. There's one which is generally steel, one which is wood and PVC, one which is kind of pipes and so forth, and one which is just a bunch of wood. And then this is kind of the table of oddities. There's all manner of stuff. There's the soup can forge, which I don't think I've shown in a video before. We've got some tea making equipment, all the propane bottles, a long way away from the welding. Paint, glue, some planes. This is kind of the woodworking area, you know. We've got some framing tools, hammers, saws, and, you know, glue, paint brushes, miter box, that kind of stuff. Down here, those are all microwave parts. There are a bunch of those really dangerous capacitors in there. And there's just some engine stuff. There's MTF and other stuff that I've been fiddling around with. Parts from the shifter rebuild. Guess which car those parts belong to if you can. In the comment section, tell me down there. Now here, this is the electronics workbench you see here. So we've got more of the sort of organizer things with all the, you know, electronic components salvaged from stuff I've taken apart. There's capacitors, resistors, there's a bunch of inductors, crystallier pieces, vacuum tubes, more vacuum tubes, more soldering supplies, some of these weird 250 volt light bulbs that you find in microwaves. What else? We've got some tube bases, which are kind of cool. And let's see, wire, enamel wire, what else have we got here? Well, there's obviously a soldering iron. Solder. I do prefer leaded solder, I must say. I cannot stand unleaded solder because it melts at such a high temperature that you end up cooking the component before you're done soldering. Automatic wire strippers, those are really helpful. Spare filters for my welding respirator, and clip leads. This is another fume extractor. It's a little bit smaller and it goes out that window there, but I've got this little piece of tile here for soldering on, and it just sucks the fumes right away from me. This is my version of a third hand because I didn't see any sense in getting one when you can make one with a piece of sort of thick copper wire and a good alligator clip. And there's a sponge, always have a sponge when you're soldering. And just, you know, random stuff here. There's the charger for the cordless drill, some old boxes and stuff. That used to be a radio, but it broke and I never saw fit to fix it. That's a Geiger counter back there. And this is a spare flasher relay for the trike's turn signals. What else have we got to show you? Oh yeah, so down here is all the like flammable crap, not the propane, but all the other stuff. You know, we've got, let's see here, lacquer thinner, acetone, ethanol, or methylated spirits, I guess. There's WD-40 and the usual kind of assemblage of, you know, stuff that builds up in a workshop over time. And this is the parts table. You'll see here the turbojet, which is awaiting developments, just sitting there. It's not really a part, but it's there because that's where space. The longer pieces of steel tend to hang out right there. This, I think, used to be a piece of the trike's old front axle, and these are waiting to be used as framing in the back of the trike. This is the gearbox which used to be on the go-kart, but it didn't explode. This bit here broke. It broke, and because it's an oil-soaked casting, it was very hard to weld it back together. So that weld is hideous, absolutely hideous. And besides, I'm not very good at welding aluminum. But anyways, one day I hope to find a replacement bushing because it broke. It's kind of a funny size, and put the thing back together and have a nice 3-speed go-kart once again. Got some tubes of TIG wire here, aluminum and I think silicon bronze. The TIG torch, which is currently staying here, I'm not sure why it's there. Helmet, because you got to wear a helmet when you drive the trike, you know, dangerous piece of kit. Well, there's the trike, sitting there patiently. It's got a window, that'll be coming in future videos. And, well, there's a piece of kind of cloth down here because I've been cutting plexiglass and so forth. Oh, well, the chop saw is here, that's used for metal. And if you look down there, that bucket there is full of wheels, all manner of wheels. So if a wheel is needed in the workshop, that is what we look for. And yeah, there we are, the Midwest Aerospace Workshop for you.